At my little China's house. Y'all doing today? What if you were Ann Wintour? It seems like you are proving Kanye was right in a roundabout way. Y'all, what am I talking about? Diva editor. This was branded by the Vogue people. Edward Enninful left British edition Vogue after wanting Anna Wintour's job. Now, let me just say this, right? What is it about Vogue? What is it about Anne Wintour? What is it about all those magazines that they seem to use black and brown bodies to keep them on the edge of culture, to keep everything known, right? But at the end of the day, they don't keep them around. What am I talking about? Look what happened to what's his name? Andre Talley Leon. He is the reason Anne Wintour had culture in a chokehold. Anna didn't even give him a tribute. She put Kim Kardashian in some blackface. She might as well, right? And that fake Tanner on the cover before she gave him his due. Moving on. David Enninful literally innovated British Vogue. He modernized it. He made it the one to watch. And what did they do for that? They got him the heck out of there. Now listen, let me just say this, right? While I put my lip gloss on. First of all, the only person Anne Wintour has not thrown away is Kanye West. But at the end of the day, Anne Wintour needs Kanye West, right? But let's look at what happened with this. They said Edward Enninful announced that he would step down from his role as British Vogue editor-in-chief to take a new role at Condé Nast as global creative and cultural advisor of Vogue. Again, it sounds like a great title, but being editor is more powerful. Anne Wintour has run American Vogue in the ground, in my opinion. In my opinion, they're not relevant. Anne Wintour is inviting the Kardashians to the Met Gala and putting Kim, Kylie, Kendall on the covers, but they are losing relevance. But at the end of the day, I get it. Anne Wintour only cares about selling, right? And she's saying that as long as they're on the cover, it's selling, even though news figures would beg to differ. Anyway, get into this. On Friday, June 2nd, the Ghanaian British, and again, the people at Vogue called him a diva journalist because he literally demanded the world is multicultural. The UK is multicultural. Why aren't there more images of beauty, especially considering that since Kanye put the fashion world in a chokehold, let's just say what it is. Kanye draws his inspiration from the hood. Anybody that's from the hood can look and see like what the inspirations are. You walk into any high-end store and they have all their clients dressing the way the hood stars dressed in the late 2000s up to 2015. The sweats, the leggings, the wear, everything. So in a weird way, right? They don't love the culture, but they want the culture. Anyway, he sent out, on Friday, he sent out a memo to his staff announcing that he'll step into the new editorial advisor role. He's not even an editor anymore. He's an editorial advisor. This is literally firing him. In the memo, he wrote, "I will continue to contribute to the creative and cultural success of Vogue brand globally while having the freedom to take on broader creative projects." Imagine the nerve that they want all the magic you bring, all the cultural relevance you bring, but they don't want you to have the power to actually be editor. Y'all, Vogue is trash. We need to cancel them. He said, "For now, everything remains the same, and I'm so excited about what the future holds for us. I'd like to thank Roger Lynch and Anne Wintour for their continued support." Now, if you guys don't know, there have been rumors of a rift between Edward and Anne in recent months. Condé Nast insiders believe that there's a great tension between the two Vogue leaders, with some speculating whether Edward would replace Anne Wintour as the editor-in-chief of American Vogue. Since coming on board as editor-in-chief of British Vogue in 2017, Enninful has become a champion of diversity and inclusion in the fashion industry. His reign featured the first Braille editions of Vogue for the blind and partially sighted people. Also, it featured 5 celebrities with disabilities on the cover of Vogue's May 2023 issue. Sinead Burke, Ellie Goldstein, Aaron Rose Phillips, sign language performer Justina Mills, and actress Selma Blair. Again, when I say that he literally modernized Vogue, it wasn't just black, brown people. It's about people understanding in this world. There are people with disabilities, people with handicaps, tall, short, wide, thin, beautiful, conventionally beautiful, beautiful in other ways, people that can't read, people that can't see, people can't talk. Everybody deserves to be included. The fact that Ann Wintour and her 73-year-old self still has the industry in a chokehold. But again, I will say this, I feel like Ann Wintour is just a reflection on what the industry wants. Let's be real. The industry wants everybody to look like, what's her name? I forget her name. Wants everybody to look like a Gigi Hadid, right? They want everybody to look like Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively. No shade to Blake Lively, no shade to Gigi. They're not problematic. What I am trying to say is they keep trying to go with this narrow confines. And it's odd that every time there is a step toward diversity, there's 15 steps back. And everybody acts like that's just normal. It's not normal. It's weird. And the fact that Vogue is literally willing to have zero relevancy and go down with the ship, as opposed to modernizing and doing what, even when they've proven that when you are inclusive, it's more money for everybody. It's a win-win for everyone. You would rather go down with a sinking ship than be inclusive? Y'all, listen. They said Anne recently announced the second annual Vogue World would take place in London in September ahead of the famous London Fashion Week. The fashion extravaganza serves to both celebrate British art and culture while also treading on Edward's home turf. I believe Ann Wintour actually is British. Her family's British. The British Vogue editor was reportedly incredibly annoyed with Anne's decision to hold the event in its domain. Both Edward and Condé Nast had previously denied rumors of a rift between the fashion juggernauts, and the 51-year-old editor is even on record as considering himself one of Ann Wintour's proteges. And what did she do to her proteges? Y'all, listen. And can't say it's Ann Wintour at this point. I feel like fashion just uses and throws away. And, at the end of the day, I think that maybe is the secret to the Kardashians' success and Wintour's success. You use, you appropriate, you influence, but you never actually give credit where it's due. This is an incredibly disrespectful downgrade. Now, some of y'all might think he deserves it. Some of y'all might not. But I'll tell you what, compare what British Vogue has been doing since he took over, compare what the US Vogue is doing, compared to the ish show that Ann Wintour turned into the Met Gala, compared to everything, y'all. And again, this is what I mean. The inclusivity and inclusion of Vogue, to me, seems to be all chitty, chat. They don't mean it. They don't want it. And as soon as they actually do get real diversity, which is someone that is on the upper level, because again, let me just say this, having like a pretty girl, right? Brown skin, dark skin, whatever, on the cover. Yes, it is something that's needed. Don't get me wrong. It's something that's needed. But we are not in 1962. We're not. So it's something that's needed, but it's something that's expected, because at the end of the day, you know that if you have someone on the cover that looks like me, I'm going to go buy that blush, that foundation, because I see myself reflected. If you have somebody on the cover that looks like Naomi Campbell, well, we're all going to go, because whether you reflect it or not, Naomi Campbell makes everything look good. But my whole point of the matter is to see them on, now that we've gotten past the hurdle of actually seeing faces reflected, right? What about people that maybe don't have an arm, don't have a leg? What about people that can't see? What about people that live alternative lifestyles? What about the actual people that make up this world? Because they don't see that it might be profitable, they don't care. But also, now that, right, even with minorities, I don't want to say minorities because we're the majority of this world, even with people that are melanated, now that we've gotten past the hurdle of, yeah, we're going to be on that cover, there's a new battle to be won. And that battle is something as simple as real power. The real power at Vogue is not being on the cover. It was never on the cover. That was just baby steps. The real power at Vogue is being an editor, The real power at Vogue is the editor job that allows you to actually change the thoughts, ideas, right? And actual standards of beauty. And let's be realistic. There is power in beauty. There is currency in erotic currency. There's currency in beauty. There's currency in being smart. There's currency, of course, in being rich. But there is real power in being an editor of Vogue and the way you can change the mindsets, thoughts, feelings, emotions of the world and set standards that people will comply with. And the fact that Ghanaian-born man somehow through his sheer talent, motivation, and gumption was able to climb to the top of that power stack. And his stars shined so brightly that it took away from old crusty Ann Wintour, who should have retired like 5 years ago, because she's not it. Without Kanye's idea, she's just not it. And the fact that he was able to outshine her, and the fact that he was able to elevate Vogue, because we all know their star is shining, and the fact that he gave them all those gifts, and they got him the F out of there, because at the end of the day, they didn't expect him to have power. They thought he was going to be a diversity hire because British Vogue was under all these things and they could replace him in a year. They just didn't realize that he was going to make himself irreplaceable. So what happens? Something that actually gave your magazine that lifeblood that it desperately needed. You literally got him out of that position of power, put it into something where all he can do is be an advisor for inclusion and diversity. That's it. Inclusion and diversity, because that's all he was there for, right? Y'all listen, a Vogue is trash for this one. And Wintour, well, y'all know what I think, right? But you know what? They want that back down. They want the ship back. Go ahead and run it into the iceberg, y'all. Shout out to Edward. I hope he lands on his feet, and let this be an example of when they say diversity and inclusion. It's a whole different thing when they talk about whether you'll actually have any real power. They expected him to fail. He didn't. So they found a way to make him fail. Now, listen, let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.